All right. So today we're here with Graham Harper, Lumaflex, and talking about red light therapy, which I think is starting to become more on the consciousness of most, certainly fitness professionals, but also kind of your general exerciser and person who's into health and well-being. But today I think we have a unique peak in the fact that we have John here with us with Lumaflex to talk about his portable device, which I think is a big game changer because often red light therapy modalities are very stationary and sometimes there's an accessibility issue. But before we jump into all that, John, thank you for being here. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity to share. I mean, you have a really nice podcast setup, and obviously you've built a lot of trust with your audience. So to have access to that audience and be able to share is really appreciated. Thank you.
Of course. Yeah, I enjoyed talking to you in our discovery call, just learn a little bit more about the devices. So let's just jump in first to you and your journey into LumaFlex, and then we'll get into red light therapy just so we can operationalize it for the audience. So let's
Yeah,
do it.
sounds good. Yeah, I got into light therapy because in my background, I've always been a very like a fitness nut, a real gym rat, right? I was one of those. I was a skinny kid, growing up. I was like that last kid that gets picked on a team, so not very confident. And where I got confidence was in the gym, And as I started putting muscle on, when you're training in the gym, you start building confidence. And I really was inspired, and the feedback of what the gym gave me it was very fulfilling to me because I was getting confident, I was stronger, I was sort of more determined as a man, as a young boy. And I wanted to share this, so I went into personal training. I wanted to, I remember as a young, like up and coming trainer, I would test the craft of personal training on my mother, my sweet mother. I had my mother like come to the gym, and I was like, I'm trying to sort of feel things around and get that connection with the client, sort of figure out a few, how this all works. And my mom loved it. She was really sweet. I remember she paid me $50. She was like, John, I'm going to pay you, I'm going to, you just, you're worth your time. And so that when I wanted to I was training more and more clients, and then I wanted to sort of scale more and have more impact. So I started opening gyms, and I had a buddy of mine who was another gym rat. We would sort of be training together. We were partners, and we were like, we love fitness so much. We love working out so much. Let's build a gym and let's just stay in the gym all day, and I think that's kind of something that a lot of people, at least back at that time would do when they would open a gym. It was a very passion-based business. It was something they loved to do. But so, because both of us weren't really savvy on the business side. So, doing a gym business was a really big challenge, and there was a lot of failures. But we were very determined. we kept the grind going. And so then, you're opening gyms. Now you got trainers in the gym, and we sort of were scaling this way. And then from there, I went into digital fitness. I even was part of a group, a founder group that went into blockchain fitness, during those that time when Steppen, I don't know if you know this company Steppen, where basically the number of steps that you did, you would earn crypto. So we wanted to create a similar sort of platform. But throughout that whole time, in fitness, I wanted to be someone that practiced what they preached. I wanted to be not just a guy that opened up a gym, but also someone who was very fit themselves. I sort of had that intuition that it was good for my image and image for the brand and the gyms. So I was a rugby player for a long time, but I stopped playing rugby because I busted both my shoulders and my left knee. And then from there, I jumped into amateur boxing. And I think that how I got into boxing was because every gym that we had sort of a fight area, where we would teach, martial arts and, Brazilian jiu-jitsu and boxing. We had these classes in our gyms, and we would, me and my buddy, we would do these classes in our own gyms, and we got into it. We really loved the whole fight. and the combat entertainment of UFC and everything as it was growing. And then I remember visiting a buddy of mine, and we were boxing in a gym, and as we were sparring, he told me like, "Oh, I'm gonna go box. I'm gonna go and actually try to compete." And just to sort of one up him, I was like, "Well, I'm gonna compete as well. Like, I'm gonna get into this as well." And I think that's how I started fighting amateurs. It was one of those hot-headed moments, which looking back on, yeah, certainly learned from that, right? But after fighting for about 4 years, I started to get really severe headaches, and my my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, she pushed me to go to hospital because I'd have these headaches where it really felt like there was something being poked into the back of my skull, like this right there, like on that right side, and they found a tumor was in my head, and it was growing into my brain,
Mm.
and I was sort of freaking out, of course, because the word tumor is like, it's very triggering. And they said, you have 11 months to plan this surgery, or it's going to be very difficult to get it through microsurgery, because we're going to go into your ear, we're going to grab the tumor, and if it grows too much, it's going to be very difficult. We're going to have to go much deeper and we're going to probably have to do a really large opening. So make sure you get this surgery in 11 months, because as it grows, it's going into your brain, and this will be fatal. So, plan the surgery and let's get this done. And during that process, I kind of had like a sort of a reshuffling in my head of everything, going from someone in fitness that was really, that, it sort of just charged through doors and, sort of be like a bull in a china shop kind of thing. And I wanted to become more processed. Obviously, having a relationship and, with my wife now, I had to think much bigger than just my own ego. So, that's what pushed me to go into wellness. And my wife was the one actually that introduced me into light therapy in the beginning. And she had this lamp, and the lamp is something that I'm sure you'll find in a lot of, medical centers, anywhere in the US. It's this sort of long, it has like the arm, something like a desk lamp, but it's red and infrared light. And it usually has a very strong heat element. The bulb gets very hot. And originally thought that it was heat that was the therapy, because we use heat. Like I used to carry deep heat with me for my joints, especially my left knee. And I would, that heat draws circulation. And I just thought it was another heat therapy. But where we had that aha moment, I remember, was my left knee. And my wife would tell me 20 minutes every night before bed, aim the lamp directly on that pain area. And I would play this dancing game with my knee, because the bulb was so hot that I couldn't get too close. So I would move it away, and then I'd be like, oh, okay, try it. Oh, it's too hot. And I'd kind of play this game every night. And I would be sweating. I remember, because the whole room would heat up because this bulb was so hot. But I remember after a week, I didn't have the pain in my knee anymore. And then out of all the injuries, my knee was the one that really debilitated me the most, because it made it difficult to walk. There'd be times when, I wouldn't be able to sit in a seated position for a long period of time without it becoming so inflamed. And that's when I would use that deep heat and rub it out and do these massages. I even had like this massage protocol that I would even tell, like, to people that had knee issues. I'd say, oh, this is what I do. I do it like this, and I use this cream, and then I do this stretch. Like I had a whole protocol around my knee. I remember after a second week of using it, 20 minutes, I stopped needing it for the knee anymore. And it triggered an interest, because, to be honest, it was more of an interest in seeing this as a hack, as a competitive athlete, more so than, oh, this could, potentially heal heal the world and all these conditions. I kind of came at it from, if I'm honest, I came at it more of like, oh, this is interesting. This can be something that's, I can have in my toolkit as a competitive athlete. But going into all the clinical research, what you'll find is a lot of, brain diseases that light therapy can address. And now in the US, you flip a coin at the age of 50, you got 50-50 chance of having dementia. And this is the age of, that my parents are fast approaching. And where really red light therapy is exciting is brain health. So now this is something now that with my new product, I'm pushing very deep into, but back then, just for pain, like what I always want to encourage people is really to find good, strong encouragement and interest in light therapy, because when it comes to pain, when it comes to chronic pain, this battle in a sense has already been fought. Like we're past that now. Now we're going to brain conditions. So a lot of, like, when I hear people say, oh, I've got this shoulder issue, I've had it for so many years. I try to sort of get ahead of that conversation and say, and really justify the trying red light therapy by saying, the clinical research, close to 10 years ago, they were talking about chronic pain and light therapy. Now where we're at is eye health and brain health. So yeah, please try it, and research it. It's amazing. But yeah, long story short, like that lamp kind of triggered the interest, and this is 7 years ago, I would say. So maybe a bit more than 7 years ago. And there was I wanted to create something that was far more versatile than that lamp. That was the original idea, was that this lamp is great, it works. Now as a competitive athlete, I'm not going to carry this lamp with me everywhere. I'm not going to, it's ugly as well. Am I going to leave it in my house? This is before I even realized that, there were designs for beds and panels and anything. I just remember the lamp was like, that was the device that the world had. And I wanted to create something highly portable, highly versatile, very durable, and something that was at a good price point. And these sort of elements, and in product development, in my opinion, are very important to consider, because there are many ways to create a product, but if you have a vision to create a product that really does a lot of impact, you have to think about the user and what it is that their needs are and how you can adapt a product to them rather than them and having to adapt to a product, because that's how we get consistency, right? So long story short, we came up with Lumaflex after 3 years of development, and we're 3 months into our 2 years launched and going. We're distributed in, we're 15 countries now. We have distribution. We've won 11 awards for design and innovation, and we're one of a handful of companies that is GSA approved. So, military can buy it. We do quite well for VA clinics, especially. So yeah, it's exciting, and it's a great journey. It's obviously lots of learning. Having, the cap of a light therapy enthusiast, where you want to change the world and you want to create impact, you have to balance that also with wearing the Lumaflex hat, where I'm a manufacturer, I got teams to pay, I got costs, I need to make this work. And it's a fun challenge, and it's something I really, I appreciate.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Appreciate it. Can we talk a little bit about what is actually happening with light therapy? What is the actual mechanism that's helping with healing, so that audience gets a really kind of good operational idea of the mechanics behind the therapy?
Yeah, light therapy. Don't think of light therapy as something that a bunch of modern Einsteins are tinkering around in a laboratory and creating. It is from the sun, and it's available to us when we have a beautiful sunny day. But the sun, there are many different wavelengths that come out of the sun, and UV light is also something to consider, because this isn't good. This can be, harmful to our skin and to our cells. But red and infrared light, if you want a visual of what red and infrared light is, if you're in Miami or, the Philippines or some beautiful beach island, Thailand or something, and you see red and infrared light at sunrise and sunset, that's pure red and infrared light. And the wavelengths at that time penetrate the skin barrier and activate your mitochondria. Think of the mitochondria as like the engine of an F1 car. The better the engine is, that's how, that's how the car operates. That's how it can win a race. And it's the same for your cell. If you're giving energy to the cell, three mechanisms will arise. You've got increased ATP, increased blood circulation, which we always want. We always want increased blood circulation, and we get a reduction in inflammation. We get the switch to turn off inflammation happens because the cell, when we have inflammation, the body is basically yelling out saying, I need more blood flow. I need more energy, right? That's what's happening. And when you give through a device, when you're giving energy and circulation to that affected area, the inflammation will turn off. So it's natural, it's non-invasive, and it's something that is actually being available to us, since the early days of us as a human race. We are, where we are right now, where like 85% of our days are spent indoors. We may not notice it. Because we look out the window, we may walk to our car, or we walk into our offices, or, to Starbucks or whatever. But we're actually so deficient in sunlight compared to how we were before. But we're under artificial light, which that's another whole area that I would encourage everyone to research, how artificial light actually encourages inflammation. It increases inflammation in our body. And so being deficient in sunlight, if you think about it, back in ancient times, we had a lot more sunlight exposure, and you'll see all these health experts now encouraging us to get more sunlight, get more sunlight. I remember a study, I hope I don't misquote it, but there was a study done where they had a group of ladies, and basically, I don't want to butcher this study, but please go research it. I believe it was done in Sweden, if I'm correct. But the ladies that had more sunlight, even if they were smoking, were more healthier than ladies that didn't have sunlight. That was sort of the piece of the study that really shocked me, that even the effect of which sunlight can have on our bodies and how healthy it is for us, even if you're smoking, it really has this much benefit. So if you think about us as, in ancient times, the amount of sunlight we did have and where we are now in our evolution, where, we're in the digital age now, we need tools to where we can get the sunlight that we need. We can get those nanometers, those healing nanometers to give us our cellular energy. That's the phase we're at now. Because a lot of people ask, like, well, why don't I just, go outside? Yes, absolutely. You should go outside. Absolutely. First thing in the morning, you should go outside. But we're kind of beyond that now, to where the sun has the power to heal us and to optimize our lives and help us live longer and thrive. We can't really reverse time and go back. So we do need these tools. And Lumaflex is the portable tool, taking nothing away from larger devices and panels and all the other different devices that you can get, each to their own, whatever it is that suits you. Just think, for a red light therapy device, the device that you can use every day is the device for you. The device that creates consistency, that is the device that will change your life, because that's the design of our bodies. We're creatures of light. We're born under the light. Whatever way in which we can get light daily, consistently, is the device that works.
So would you say that, because I was thinking about how light therapy has become incredibly more popular in the last 10 years or so. You hear just more people. I hear my clients talking about it a lot more. Would you say that it's one of the mechanisms or reasons is because of the advancement in digital technology and people being on screens regularly and not being outside?
Yeah, it's something where, us in front of screens, right, on our phone all the time, getting sucked into TikTok or something, where we need tools, we need technology that can actually reverse a lot. Because also think about the amount of inflammation that we create on a daily basis. We are far unaware of. Like, think of air quality, think of like microplastics. We're always, I'm sure everyone that's listening is drinking out of a plastic bottle, which now everyone is saying, don't do that. I remember listening to some podcast with Patrick, I think her name's Patrick Porter. She's like the sauna specialist. And she even recommended that to get your omegas, to buy a supplement rather than eating fish, because there's just microplastics in fish now. And it's mind blowing. But for technology right now, where light therapy kind of came into the market on the medical side first was through lasers. And
Mm.
lasers, as the word sort of encourages, a very accurate, something that's very accurate, right? It's an accurate treatment. And there were guns, and I think these guns are still widely used in the medical spaces. There are these laser guns. Some of them are like $13,000. Like that's like the cheapest one that I've seen. And they're very pinpointed, and you can aim at certain areas that need energy, that need this light therapy, like deep into organs. It's very, 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 very targeted. But now with LED technology, and LED technology, it accelerates every 10 years. It goes through a major significant upgrade. And LED technology now can basically have the same or at least very similar outcome to a laser. So the phase that we're on in our evolution is all these laser guns that are out there. They're all very good, especially when you want a very target, like if you're a medical professional and they use it for, targeting an organ or something. But an LED surprisingly can also achieve a lot of that as well. Maybe not 10 years ago, like that's, the LED that I'm using now, for example, in Lumaflex, 10 years ago would have cost, probably at least 6 to 7 times as much as it does now. And in 10 years from now, the LED will be cheaper and more, it'll continue to grow and grow. So LED technology is a very key thing on the manufacturing side that has accelerated the adoption of light therapy, where we are able to have a device, create a device with an LED and test the power output and test all these different metrics. And it's a strong, powerful device that will create change that can impact the body. So yeah, the device that I have is a dual nanometer LED. So in the LED, and these LEDs, I buy them. They're 50,000 LEDs. They have 50,000 hours worth of the LEDs that I have. So there's 2 nanometers programmed into that LED, making it a dual nanometer. So there's red light at 630 nanometers. It goes about, let's say, an inch into the body, and then an 850 nanometer, which goes about around 4 inches into the body. But what we encourage when you use a device, and I think it depends on the device. I can't speak for all devices, but generally, in terms of treatment, you want the most bang for buck, because remember, the light, the nanometer can only go a certain depth. So you want it to touch skin, so that whatever is in the manual of the product that you purchase, you see the power output, and then you see the time. So you have the wavelengths, you have the radiance, then you have the dose. You want that into your body. You don't want it to dissipate, to reflect, right? Because light reflects, right? Light will ricochet. So you want it into your body. So we encourage touching skin, which then goes into the whole process of the design of the product, liquid silicone, and the shape, the size, all of this.
Is there a depth, or just looking at the other side, or is there a depth or downside to uh, red light therapy, or what's potentially the downside? Is there any downside to it?
I mean, I can confidently say there are no known negative side effects, but conditions that should be addressed, and it's case by case. And there are few people with these conditions, and if they have this condition, they are well aware of it, and that's people that have an allergic reaction to light. But this again, it's all case by case, because you got red light, you got infrared, then you got all these. There's a huge spectrum of light. So usually where they have an allergic reaction is not even within the spectrum of red and infrared light, which is in most devices. But if someone has a condition, a skin condition, that are allergic to light, and these are people that you'll see, they're always very protected. They'll go outside, they'll wear big hats, they'll have an umbrella. Usually they're very fair skinned, their eyes are usually are red. They will know, and they will have a doctor, and they'll say, oh, these are the spectrums that I can, I'm okay with them. These are not. But then for Lumaflex as a brand, putting the Lumaflex hat on, in our manual, we say, don't use if you have a heart condition, consult a doctor. Don't use if you're pregnant. We say these things to, for liability and under FDA, but if I'm in, say, the Fellowship of Scientists, these photobiomodulation scientists that have devoted their lives to red light therapy, if you talk to them, and I encourage everyone to go and talk to, and listen to at least, to light scientists, because it's amazing, what they've researched and what they're inspired about, right? They're so passionate about it. They will tell you, if you're pregnant, use red light therapy. If you have a heart condition, use red light therapy. Like they'll say, and that's kind of the sort of conundrum, right? Where and there is also evidence to show that if you have a tumor, you don't aim red light directly onto the tumor. Mm-hmm. But, post surgery, like red light therapy is amazing for chemotherapy, for
Mm-hmm.
dealing with the side effects of chemotherapy. Absolutely. I mean, the research on this is astounding. But that's sort of where we are now with red light therapy and the research now. But again, everyone consult a medical professional, do your own research, case by case. Everybody's different, but that's generally where it is right now. It's something really exciting is eye health, and back in the early days, there was a very strong fear of looking at LEDs with the naked eye. They would always encourage to use eye protection, but now the research is coming out that you should be doing 3 minutes a day looking at LEDs, like on the 660 or it depends again how far it is. But people are now like not even needing to use eyeglasses anymore because of using red light therapy to heal their eyes. It's again a very, very exciting area to look into and to research. It's amazing.
So two things. I don't want to forget about the second thing I'm thinking about, but one, so this show is frequented by fitness professionals, personal trainers, other fitness pros, and I know that the thing they'll ask me is, how do I talk about red light therapy or light therapy to my clients as a part of their well-being plan and their work with us? How would you explain that to our professionals?
Um, because coming from a fitness background as a trainer, and I had gyms and everything. So originally when I brought Lumaflex to market, I was very fitness oriented. Like I wanted to introduce light therapy to fitness coaches, to athletes. And since then, sort of the response has been very strong from wellness, from people in that want to live longer, right? From that longevity trend that's going on, right? And medical, of course, medical. Now my device is integrated into ambulances in Poland, which is really exciting. And but originally I was trying to communicate and excite trainers about light therapy and introducing it to their clients. And it's part of our Lumaflex Academy. We have because growing Lumaflex about 8 months into launch. Great product, all these awards, yip de doo dah, but it's not really a solution. It's not really, people had this product, but they were like, what does it do? What is light therapy and how do I use this for my clients or in my practice or in my gym or in my sessions? And then that's when me and Peter Forehand, he's my photobiomodulation expert, we kind of put our heads together to create an academy where we answer all those exact same questions. How is it used for these different use cases? How can you integrate it into a gym environment or with clients? And we've got the foundations course, which anybody listening, if you ever want free access, we sell it for $200 gives you lifetime access. So all the courses, but anyone who gets connected with me, I'll enroll you for free, no problem. Because it's something me and Peter are very excited about to raise awareness for light therapy through education. But the foundations course, we ran the first seminar at a gym facility in Miami. We had trainers, we had coaches. There was a few nurses that were there, a few like strength and conditioning coaches. So, some of these people were going to go on to be practitioners, and we gave them the full sort of in a very well packaged way the science of light therapy, Lumaflex and our protocol, and then how to use it for sessions. And something we always encourage is, when you have a client, to ask them what their pain rating is. This is sort of like our little our little way of introducing light therapy to, to a client is we ask, what's your pain rating? I've got a sore shoulder, right? And this is if the client is in pain. And they'll usually give a pain rate 1 to 10. Usually the number most quoted is 8. And then you don't need to say anything. You say, oh, would you like to try light therapy? And on our devices, we have a 10-minute timer. So we give 10-minute treatments, direct skin contact. So we worked with a 10-minute time frame. And then basically I adjusted the power output to optimize for sort of the mass number of people for pain management outcome and try to get the optimal output for that 10 minutes. And then after that 10 minutes, you ask, how's your pain rating? And there's the pain rating you assess 2 times after the session. And then the next morning after that night's sleep, the next morning, that's when you assess it again, because that's when the cells get fully re-energized, reinvigorated. And that's sort of something we do to introduce light therapy into sessions. And we go far more in depth in this with the foundations course. And actually we've got, I think it's on the 25th. It's the 19th now. On the 25th, wow, very soon, we're doing a seminar in Equinox with their coaches, the therapists, and we go through this whole process, because it's not about just talking about Lumaflex, right? It's talking about the science, making sure it's well packaged so that information can easily be communicated, to someone else, to a friend, a family member, a client. I always would tell these scientists, like, I would say, if you were able to package your lecture just a little bit better, what would happen is when I listened to it, I would get it. I would understand what you're saying so well that I then would go tell someone else. And this is sort of what I feel is sort of the truest expression of intelligence, is if you're able to communicate information that can be passed down. And that was sort of the framework that me and Peter worked with to create Lumaflex. I said, make sure that like a 5-year-old would understand this, because we need to grow the awareness of light therapy. And the way we do that is people listen, they get it, and then they tell their friend. Like they're in that, that brunch meeting, having their Prosecco's on a Sunday, and they're like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, have you ever tried about light therapy? And they bring it up in conversation, So that's all covered in the course, which again, we're on a mission to educate the world about light therapy. We, of course, Lumaflex product, wonderful product, but there are a lot of products out there. Some people already have a product. They know it works. They like it. But this education can help you better understand that device that you're using and how to use it better, if, for yourself or for your clients, right?
Awesome, man. That's so awesome. What's the future of light therapy? As you look down the road, speculate, where do you see this going?
So I believe in 3 years, the modern world, everyone will have at least 3 devices in their home. And these devices could be for beauty, because these LED masks, you see them on TikTok everywhere. That's light therapy, and that's giving energy to your cells, and it's producing collagen. It's making you more beautiful, less wrinkles, whatever, right? So beauty, is actually a wonderful space in light therapy, because it's really pioneering all these other amazing outcomes that can be done with light therapy, because people are buying beauty masks and they're saying, wow, what is this? It's not like there's vibration or
Mhm.
heat. It's just light. And that's what it's optimizing the cells in your face to make you beautiful. So then, what if I were to do this for my sore shoulder or my sore back or my father's back? He's always complaining about his back, and it can trigger more interest into now using the device for pain, right? And then from there we can go into brain, right, into eye health and all these other things. So in 3 years' time, I firmly believe like we're right, we're right at that stage where it's really taking off. Because I also want to stress that light therapy isn't something necessarily that I'm in pain, now I need light therapy. Light therapy,
Mhm.
again, light therapy, you need to have it on a consistent basis. And if you're whole, you got no pain, now like for myself, I'm climbing to I'll be 40 very soon. I'll be 40 next month. Wow. It's- so, and I'm thinking like, I want to live longer, and maybe not like live longer in that sense, but I want to optimize my life at an older age. I still want to be able to move around and do the things that I want to do. And this is light therapy can really, really help with this, optimizing your sleep, optimizing your mood, right? Because if you think of us as, as those primal creatures, we would wake up and the sunrise and we'd go to sleep at sunset. It was like, this was all are natural for us. This was just like part of our day, right? And now with artificial light, we're up late at night, looking at our phones, our circadian rhythm is off. And this creates all these mental instabilities and issues, right? And stress and anxiety. And we're figuring out like what's wrong. It's like, well, it's a sleeping issue is one, but maybe you're just your circadian rhythm is off. Your brain doesn't know, should I sleep? Should I wake up? Should I sleep? Should I wake up? And when this is happening all the time, you can get more frustrated and you can actually develop like a mental problem, right? And again, easily fixed with light. And going back to how we were in those, times before this, we never had these problems. We would just wake up like the sun would rise and it was just our time to wake up and the sun would set. And also, when the sun would set, we would build a campfire. And they'd done studies where like campfire, when you see a campfire, you feel like this warm, cuddly sort of fellowship feeling where you want to sit around the campfire and talk and sort of, it's a very comfortable setting. We're always drawn to a campfire. Like if you're walking down, some beach or something and you've got some people over there with the campfire, you're like, oh, cool. I want to go hang out with them. Like that's in our DNA is to that reminds us of, oh, it's nighttime. It's time to wind down. It's time to we're gonna get prepared for bed and to reset and then wake up the next morning. And that was our light at night was campfires, right? It wasn't artificial light. So that's something that that there's a lot of potential of maximizing the use of light therapy just to live longer, just to be happy, just to be healthy, just to be your mood to be better, right? Which I very much want to encourage people to don't think of light therapy as just like, oh, I'm in pain, I'll use light therapy, then put the device away and then go about my day. Use it all the time and and if possible, as often as you can, when the sun sets, if you have a light therapy device, like I've got my device right here. If you have, if you're able, use this as your nightlight, because this again is telling your brain it's time to go to sleep. Let's wind down, and your sleep is far more optimal. Like you'll be surprised at how like I had this conversation with a buddy of mine, because both of us we don't drink alcohol. Like if there's a dinner or something with a client or with one of my team members, we may have a glass of wine, but we don't drink. And we have friends that are excessive drinkers, and we talk about how like remember back when we were young, we drink a lot, and then when you stop drinking for a long period of time, you realize you're like, wow, I feel so much better. It's like your body gets progressively better and better and better and better. It's because of the amount of time that you've not drunk. And it's the same with light therapy. When you have these certain protocols in your life where, oh, the sun's down, let's switch to to red light. We'll use this as our night light. If you need to go to the bathroom in the during the night, don't turn on the light. Use a red light. You'll feel like over time, my sleep is better. You're like, wow, I'm more productive. I'm more alert. I'm more positive. You'll start to notice these things. So yeah, it's really, yeah, lots to talk about. Yeah. I'm very excited about this stuff. I get very passionate about it.
I could tell you have a lot of passion for this, and I think what drew me to it was I think light therapy is critically important, especially our technology is creating a larger need for it. And I even had an episode with a physical therapist about digital posture dysfunction and the inflammation that's coming from massive cervical flexion,
Yeah,
and
that's
all
right.
that inflammation. And so it's actually making products and therapies like light therapy more important because of our digital innovations, which is crazy. It's like a trade-off of things that are
Yes.
happening. So it's increasing the need for these therapies because of our usage for
Yes.
that. So I
Yes.
just really appreciate people like yourself. But the mobile aspect, I think, is really that's a big part because I think for a lot of people, their idea of light therapy is a stationary idea. It is an
Yeah.
idea of going into a a machine or a booth or product and standing there, whereas your
Yeah.
product allows you to move and be mobile and to take it with you.
That's
And
right.
that to me is the future of these therapies is because a lot of healing takes place through movement in addition to the therapies as well.
Yes.
So it's an
Yeah, that's right.
assisted aspect to that. So that's what to me makes it brilliant is
Yeah.
you don't have to actually stand somewhere and then not be moving and have the therapy. That's amazing. That's
That's
incredible. So thank you
yeah.
for doing this and for giving me some of your time to explain something you're really passionate about. I appreciate it, John.
Thank you. Yeah, I would love to send you a device because we have the Body Pro. This is the one
Yep.
that's waterproof. Think of it, this is the one that's in ambulances. So it's the first responder one. It's the one the military use, the pro athlete. It's the tool in the toolkit of a practitioner, right? But then the
Yeah.
essential is the take home device. But the new
Mm.
device is the Essential Pro. And this is where I'm going into brain health because the 630, 850 nanometers that these two have, I've gone and I've put 6 different wavelengths into this device. And one nanometer is the 1064, the 1064 nanometer
Mm.
to help with the brain. And we're launching in Las Vegas at the Olympia show. I have a
Mhm.
very close friend of mine, Chris Gethin. He's a transformation coach, biohacker, is big bodybuilder fitness guy. Someone I've known him for like 12 years. He's a very close mate of mine. And so we're launching it, and I would love to send you one to try out
Mhm.
to assess. And it's for dementia, for autism, you put on the back of the neck, right? You have it
Mm.
in this area here. You put it on the head. You put it like this. Put it on here.
Mhm.
Put it here. We have like a little cap that it fits into the
Okay.
head. Um, but it's really exciting for me that because pain management, yes, it's a massive problem in the world. Like how many people have such unfulfilling lives where all they're dealing with is physical pain, a bad back, a bad back that they've had since, for my dad, it was his neck. My mom, it was her knees, and it was just, oh, my knees, I can't go up those stairs. Or my dad, oh, my neck, and it's something that in their lives, they think, that's it. Like, this is what I have to deal with. This is the cross I need to bear. Right. And, to go onto medication or surgery, like if these things are on the horizon, it's very daunting and it's such a dark path that can lead to, right? But bringing in something that is natural, it's non-invasive, it's something that has zero known negative side effects, is really exciting. And then pushing now into brain health where somebody, I mean, just for your average individual, mental clarity, just your morning boost. You've got 6 hours you need to crush on the computer. Like, before you do that, let's get your brain, get some energy to your brain, the cells, in your brain. So yeah, really, it's exciting. I'd love to get your unit to check out, to try
Yeah.
out, and
I
use for
definitely.
all your needs.
Yeah, I mean, I'm training for a marathon right now, and a lot of recovery is going into this.
Yeah.
So I'm outside quite a bit, actually, running, but I believe in light therapy. And I love that the downside is pretty much nothing except for, like you said, allergic reactions. So we'll definitely talk after this, but please let the listeners know how they can connect with Lumaflex and begin their journey with portable light therapy here.
Yeah, if anyone listening, if I encourage you to go to YouTube, type in red light therapy, go through like 3 videos. Wow, you'll be amazed. But to go deeper and to learn about our protocol and our education, if you connect with me, you could just email me at john@lumaflex.com and just say, yo, listen to the podcast. It's awesome. and I just need your email and I'll enroll you into our backend and you'll get lifetime access. You can access all our course material and it's video format. So you can, you can watch it while you're in traffic or you just have it listening, you just have it playing while you're going through your day. So that's just contact me on via email or Instagram, John Graham Fitness. Just say, yo, because yeah, it all, just like with my journey, it really started with getting deep into the education, getting inspired. And yeah, that's what we're trying to do. We're really trying to make an impact with education first. We're an education first company and we let the product come in later. Because again, there are many other products out there. My product is the portable one. There are many other devices out there that are stationary, and maybe you don't know quite how well to use it or how it works, or what maybe different distances to the device or when's the best time to use it. We cover all of that in the education. Mm.
Awesome. Man, this has been very enlightening, literally. So, John, I appreciate you, man. And I know this is the beauty of technology. I know that we're on other sides of the world right now talking to each other, and
Yep.
getting this amazing information. And we need to get this information out. This is why I wanted to do this episode. I think my colleagues, we need to know more about it. And this has tremendous far ranging applications. So I have a lot of gratitude for you coming on. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate the time.
All right. That's it.